just watched Us. I'm gonna try to keep this review as spoiler-free as possible, because if you're just watching this to know if you should watch the movie or not, my answer is yes. You really should watch it. Honestly, I would recommend this movie even if it wasn't good, which it is. It is really good. But I would still recommend it just because I want Jordan Peele to keep making horror movies. I really liked Get Out. It was a very good, effective horror movie, very much in the vein of writers like Ira Levin, who wrote Rosemary's Baby as well as The Stepford Housewives. And similar to Ira Levin, Jordan Peele included a lot of political, social commentary in Get Out, obviously, except Jordan Peele was able to do it much better because he was talking about the experience of being a black person in America, and Ira Levin was talking about the experience of being a woman, which he wasn't. But that does bring me to one thing that I think that Jordan Peele is doing really, really well, is that he clearly loves the horror genre, and as a horror fan myself, I'm appreciating it. I'm appreciating the little callbacks. I appreciate that this movie is, and by this movie I mean Us, I appreciate that it's shot in the same location as The Lost Boys. I appreciate that there are incredibly subtle references to The Shining that nobody is gonna pick up on. So the reason why I mention how I feel about Get Out is because after watching that movie and hearing that Jordan Peele was going to be doing more horror movies, this was one of the movies that I was most excited for this year. I went into it with very high expectations. And it's really good. I just think that I liked Get Out better. But we're gonna get into that in a little bit. We're gonna start talking about the general things that I thought about the movie, some very general, non-specific things. Then we're going to get into a little bit of a plot description, and then at the very end we are going to talk about the twist, but I'm not going to say what the twist is, I'm just going to generally say how I felt about it. Yes, this movie has a twist. So a couple of general things. One thing is I think that this movie did an amazing job at building up the characters before all of the horror stuff starts happening. The family is incredibly likable, and because of that, when the horror actually starts happening, I did feel a genuine fear for their lives that I haven't felt in a horror movie in a really long time. Especially the father. I didn't think that they were gonna kill the kids, because how often do they kill children in horror movies? And I didn't think that they were going to kill Lupita Nyong'o? I'm sorry, I've never been good at pronouncing her name. Her, main character. I didn't think they were gonna kill her because she was the main character. But the father was established at the beginning of the movie to be a very funny, very likable character. And so when he gets dragged off screen to get beaten at one point, I was genuinely worried that they were gonna kill him off. I did not want that to happen. The actors were all amazing. All of the actors had to play two parts in this movie. They had to play the primary character from the primary world, so just basically like a normal person. And they all did that very well. They were all very likable with very few exceptions. I found the father of the White family very annoying, but that was more writing than his performance. Not that it was bad writing, just he was written to be an annoying character. But the second character that everyone had to play was the secondary, the subdweller people. The evil family. Let's just call them the evil family for this review's purpose. And every member of the evil family was super creepy. Lupita Nyong'o did a very good job with her speaking. Her speaking was creepy. Kids did a really good job of just generally being creepy kids. Elizabeth Moss did a really good job in her performance too. The scene in the trailer of her holding the scissors against her head is really creepy in the movie too. But if I did have one complaint about it, it's probably that the plot turned out to be much more normative than I expected. I thought the plot was going to be very much unique and very different, and I hate to say maybe a little smarter. Oh, I hate to say that because it is a smart movie. And it's from a man who's proven to do very intelligent movies and is a brilliant writer. But I kind of feel like maybe the script could have done with a little bit more edits, maybe a little bit more time to flesh out some ideas, because there were some ideas that I feel like could have gone a little bit farther, but maybe that's just me. I'll get a little bit more into that when I start discussing the actual plot, which maybe we should do right now. So the movie starts out with Lupita Nyong'o's character as a little kid. She's at the same carnival that the Lost Boys are currently being shot at, apparently. I'm sorry, I can't get over that. I love the Lost Boys. And she wanders away from her parents, going to a funhouse mirror thing, where she runs into a clone of herself. Fast forward a few years, she's an adult now, she's got a husband, she's got kids. They do keep flashing back to her as a child and what happened at that time and afterwards. It's revealed that something happened, although we're not privy to what, that gave her PTSD and made her mute for an indeterminate amount of time. The only thing that stopped her from being mute was that she got into the arts, in particular dancing, and that helped bring her out of her PTSD a little bit. In the current timeline with her family, she's married to the most adorable man ever. I genuinely loved the father character. I thought that he was very fun, very cute. She has 2 kids. The daughter is just kind of your stereotypical teenage girl who spends all her time on her phone. Although it is established that she's very good at track, so she has a leg up on the monsters when they show up. The son, I'm not entirely clear on what's supposed to be happening with him. There's a few possible hints at him maybe having PTSD, but there's also hints that it might be ADHD or possibly high-functioning autism. Point is, he's kind of set out as being non-normative. He wears masks a lot, and also his name was Jason, which I'm not sure if that was supposed to be a little bit of a reference, or if I'm just insane. So the family is all going on vacation in the same spot that Lupita Nyong'o met her twin several years prior. She is very clearly dealing with a lot of anxiety about it. She tries to talk her husband out of doing at least some things, but he's very adamant about this vacation idea. We do spend a lot of time with this family, get to know them, and then if you've seen the trailer, then you've seen the scene where the evil family shows up. Evil family basically just corners them all. Starts telling them that they are their shadows. That when they received everything good in their life, they received the same thing, but with a dark twist. And because this family has received so many good things that they haven't truly appreciated, the Shadow family now wants revenge against them. So at this point, the Shadow family starts attacking the primary family. Eventually, the entire primary family manages to get away, although it gets intense. This is not a particularly gory movie. There is a little bit of blood, but for the most part it pans away before you see any real violence. So if you're someone who can't handle a whole lot of gore in your horror movie, you're gonna be fine, trust me. It's more a psychological horror than anything. So the family goes to their friend's house, the previously mentioned white family. Turns out that they also had twins that killed the entire family before they got there. Here it's discovered that the shadows of each person can actually be killed. I wasn't entirely sure if they could at first because there was a scene of Lupita Nyong'o hitting one of them over the head with a poker, like a fireplace poker, that really should have killed him, but it didn't. So I thought that they were going with they can't be killed, but apparently they can. Eventually they do clear out this house and discover on the news that this is a global event, basically. Or if it's not a global event, at least it's an American event. Anytime that they have these apocalypse movies, I'm not entirely clear on if this has happened globally or if it's just happening in the States. Because I'm pretty sure that the two things are the same to Americans. Honestly, this is the point in the movie where it kind of started to lose me a little bit. Not a whole lot. I still really enjoyed this movie, and I even feel a little bad complaining about it because it was a legitimately good movie, and I do genuinely think that you should go see it. But at this point, when they reveal that it's not just, delegated to this one specific family, it's a global event, and there are many, many twins. It's at this point that it kind of gets into, a post-apocalyptic type movie, kind of like a zombie movie. the zombie apocalypse has happened, except it's not zombies, it's evil twins of people. And it's at this point that I kind of feel like it loses a little bit of originality, which maybe I only feel that way because I went in with such high expectations. So long as you're not expecting it to be a completely original horror movie, you're still gonna enjoy it. Like I said, the performances are great, the characters are great, it's intelligently written, it's very funny. It's just that the monsters are not quite as original as I was hoping, and they aren't explained as well as I was hoping. So the family decides to get in the car and keep driving, which is what everyone decides in zombie movies, but along the way they're stopped by the twin of the little boy, who, might I just add, is actually really well designed. I like the mask that he has. He has a tendency to pull his mask up and reveal that his face is entirely burned, which I kind of thought that maybe they were going to go somewhere with that, but they didn't really. The little boy of the primary family basically sacrifices himself to kill the shadow boy. He doesn't die, but he does get kidnapped by the shadow version of Lupita Nyong'o, which is what ultimately forces Lupita Nyong'o to go into the shadow world, basically. Which, as it turns out, is some sort of subterranean institution with lots of bunnies. There are so many bunnies. I don't think that this counts as a spoiler, so I'm going to say it. At the very end of the movie, when the little boy leaves the subterranean institution, he takes a bunny with him, which I approve of. I would do that if I went through this traumatic experience too. Like, you deserve a bunny. You went through a lot, baby. Have a pet rabbit. I also feel like I want to bring up that there was a lot of color coding in this movie. The shadow people were all very much in red all the time. Lupita Nyong'o constantly eats red food throughout the movie too, like strawberries, stuff like that. And I think that I get the color coding for that, but also all the rabbits were white. Like, there were a couple of not white rabbits, but the vast majority of them were white, which I'm not I kind of expected that to tie in a little bit more, but it didn't really. So either it's an Alice in Wonderland reference, which maybe I could see that actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably an Alice in Wonderland reference. The only other thing that I can think of is that Jordan Peele just really likes white rabbits in particular. Anyway, it's at this point that we do eventually find out the twist, which I'm not going to reveal, even though I did guess the twist well before it was revealed. There's a lot of hints toward it throughout the movie. Like, pretty much if you're paying attention specifically to who speaks and who doesn't, they will eventually tip you off on what is going on here. It's a fine twist. I did enjoy it when I figured out what it was. It's just that the movie wasn't nearly as original as I was hoping. I do kind of wonder that maybe if I went into it with a little bit lower expectation, maybe I wouldn't even have any of these complaints. Because like I said, there are many very good things about it, and you should go watch it. We need Jordan Peele to keep making these movies. Also, just generally support the fact that Lupita Nyong'o's in a starring role. I don't think that I have much else to add besides that. It's a good movie. Check it out. That's basically all that I've got. It's a good movie. It's not exactly what I was hoping for, but I was hoping for a lot, to be fair. And at the very least, we already got one really original Jordan Peele horror movie, so the fact that this one is just really good is not a disappointment. In fact, it would be amazing. It would be unbelievable if he managed to put out two really unique, really amazing horror movies. Or just movies in general. So those are my final thoughts. And on that note, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. See you guys next time.